Hey, what's up guys, this is T-Bone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Gemstone Legends. In today's video, I'm going to talk about Perun, a new legendary hero that was introduced just about a week ago, and he has quickly become one of my favorite heroes, and so I went through and I leveled him up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about his gears as well as his skills, and I'm going to show him in a couple of fights. So Perun is in the Slavic faction. He is a Slavic god of thunder, and so his skill is called Strike of the Divine Thunder. He does three things. The first one is it'll stun, okay, for 1 turn, and then burn for 3 turns, and he deals damage to all enemies, so AOE attack for 20% defense, whereas 20% of the defense is ignored. All of this are really great on its own, and you add on to the passive ability where his damage also increases by 6% for every status that is affecting an enemy. Now, because this is just status, it doesn't specify whether it's positive or negative status. And so if you're up against enemies that like to stack a lot of positive stats, well, this helps him as well because he will simply deal more damage. So if you can get 10 stacks of damage, of status on your enemies, that is 60% additional damage he deals. Now, because he does have stun and also burn, he also increases his accuracy by 40% if the enemy is above 50%. If you can get him down to below 50%, he increases his attack by an additional 40%. So if you can get 10 status on the enemies and then it's below 50%, you're dealing 100% more damage than what you can dish out. So he deals a ton of damage, and he's already also immune to decreased attack, decreased critical damage, and color blindness. So he really is a damage dealing machine for all enemies. All right, and so if you take a look at his mana gain, he does gain 1 mana gain at max passive ability. And then so at base mana gain of 18, it'll be best if you can put 1 of the caster sets on him, so he grounds it at 20. Now if you take a look here, I don't really have any other sets here, but you take a look at basically what I focused on. So I really focused on his attack value, so it's at 5200. I could, if I get better gears, I could push it higher, but attack is the primary thing you want to focus on, and his critical rate. Remember, you want 85% or higher. 85% gives you a guaranteed critical hit every time against purple enemies, and then 100% gives you 100% guaranteed hit against neutral enemies, and then 115% will get you a guaranteed critical hit against yellow enemies. All right, so I go for 85 so that I can mostly get critical hits. You want to push your critical damage high as well. And you'll notice that my accuracy is not that high because I'm basically depending on the additional accuracy I'm getting from my passive ability in the beginning. All right. Once you've landed that passive ability, that the stun, you're basically counting on the damage. So you really want to maximize your attack. Now, if you can be fast, that'll be great as well. So I have I try to find speed sub stats where I can, but for now it's at 255, which is okay. You take a look at my gears, so it's basically attack boots, attack armor, and then I chose to go with damage gloves. Now, if you have the crusher set, you can get away with not using this, and you can still gain 40% additional damage, so you can put some more attack here if you want to. And then if you take a look at the front 3 gears, focus on critical rate for me, some speed, some accuracy. So you can see I try to focus a little bit of everything, but I always look for attack, critical rate, and critical damage for all of them. And then in some cases where I have a little defense, a little resistance, that's good as well. The thing about him is I didn't build him to be very tanky. Right, so he is a little bit low on health at 24,000 max, completely maxed out at just shy of 25,000. So he can't take that much hits. So it's all about damaging with him. Right. If you take a look at his awakenings, it is all attack. Right, all the way through, it's all attack. So that's why you want to play to his strengths and just really boost up on his attack. So what are some of the heroes that will work really well with him? So there's a couple things. One, if you wanted to just like play the Rift, for example, I'm actually going to go through this one. I'll show you one. Here's an example. Raphael actually pairs up really well with him, and Gaffadeth, for example, as a hero that boosts attack, can also benefit him as well. Now, I'm not taking advantage of any positive or negative stats here. I'm going to show you that in a minute in a different fight. And Streetbog, if you have Streetbog with his passive ability close to maxed out, he is going to be best friends with Perun, all right? I mean, Streetbog is the god of wind, and you got Perun as the god of thunder. The two just go hand in hand. All right, we're gonna go up against the current. We're gonna go up against the current rift, which is the red rift, and you'll sort of see how they act here, right? So first thing we're gonna do is we're going to try and get their abilities up. Streetbog will always give 30% mana at the beginning of the fight if you can get his mana up. And if you take a look at the damage here, Raphael deals about 10,000 damage to all the enemies, and you can see Perun deals a little bit more at 12.5 thousand. Both of these are awesome wave clearers, so if you partner them together, they're going to help you get really good speed on your rift hits. Like, the faster you can clear rifts, the more you can go through in a shorter period of time, and the better the more you can actually farm for gears or dust, etc. Okay, so these are really good heroes to be using. Perun and Raphael work beautifully in these situations where you're going up against rifts. Like, this is what I call PvE, player versus environment, and so you're not really worried about the status. But keep in mind that Perun is stacking status on the enemy as well over time. He keeps stacking burn as he attacks more, and as the status is getting added on, his damage is going up as well, right? And so if you can get more heroes that will give you additional damage, additional status to your enemies, the more damage you can deal. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into an arena as well. We're gonna do an arena fight, and I'm going to sort of show you some of these fights here. And so we're gonna go up against let's say we go up against this opponent here. So Zarkon and Taiko-san are going to be really good complementary heroes to go with. Other heroes that you can use are, for example, Kusai. I'll talk about other heroes later on, but here's an example of a hero that I'm going to pair with. I'm going to do an arena fight right now live, and I'm going to show you how this all works. Okay, this is actually a really strong setup, and I'm going to sort of talk about how this all works out. Right, so what you get here is, because I'm using Zarkon can do a couple of things. Zarkon gets defense down and also 3 stacks of poison on your enemies, so that's 4 right there, and that's already 24% additional damage that that Perun would deal. And you add on top of that, Taiko-san also stuns them and also gives them vulnerability. So you're now increasing the damage that Perun can deal by a ton more. And you can see I'm already almost killing Zarkon in the back there. All right. And what you can do here is, you basically just keep tacking on. Now that these enemies are below 50% health, I'm simply going to deal more damage to them. And you can see I've already taken out practically the entire wave with that right there. And then with this, what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to tack on more negative stats on them. You can see with them below 50%, I can deal a lot of damage to the enemies, and we are almost done at this point. It is just Streetbog remaining, and with this last attack, we're able to finish our attack in arena with relative ease. Okay, and so this is where, if you take advantage of the heroes and their passive ability, Perun benefits the most with heroes that can give negative stats to the opponent. And also, if your opponent runs a really high positive stat team, well, you're going to be able to get more damage out there as well. So we already saw that Zarkon is an example that is really good. Another one that's going to be really good, Mrs. Claus, gets rid of their positive, puts on some negatives so that you can deal more damage to them. But ones that just kind of add on top is going to be good. So here's another example that's a really good one, actually, and that is going to be Kusai. Kusai is another one where her ability will have decreased resistance, vulnerability, and poison, and also a chance for using her special ability twice. So you're going to get more you're just going to be able to land more negative stats on your opponents, and you're going to be able to deal more damage, right? And like, if you wanted to farm in a campaign, it is really simple as well. I'm actually leveling up Alton right now, but you can go with anyone, really, right? So like, I really like, for example, when I was playing here, I simply just put Raphael and Perun together, but he can go with anyone, really. And it just, I'll put this as the leader, it just goes really fast, right? Like, he's a really, really good wave clearer. And when you have his mana gain at 20, well, you're really benefiting from the speed as well, okay? Because you only need to match 5 gems for his mana to be at 100% as opposed to 6, and that can come in really clutch in some cases, right? So you can see how much damage we're able to deal there. 19,000 against our opponents, and it is just, he's super fun to play with, right? Like, even though a lot of the area of effect damage dealers don't typically deal that much damage, the fact that he can deal damage to all enemies and ignore 20% of defense just means that he is always going to be able to deal a little bit more damage than others. Plus, because of his passive ability that you don't normally see, where he simply just gains more damage in certain situations, his damage level goes really, really high. Some of the other heroes that that sort of rank up there, Rogar, for example, also have a passive ability that increases damage by 25%. Okay, and additional damage increase if there's one enemy alive. Like, there are situational heroes that make them stronger than others, but a lot of them typically are enemies that are heroes that deal damage to a single enemy. And in this case, we have Perun, who can deal damage to everyone. All right, so he is a great hero that will go with basically anyone. Okay, he can go against almost anybody, with anyone, up against anyone. The only thing is, he is a little bit of a glass cannon. So if you end up in a situation where your enemies have more turns to attack, he's usually the first to go. So he doesn't make it doesn't make sense for him to be like, for example, you don't want him to be you don't want to use him against corrupted Harun, for example. All right, so if I jump in, I don't want to jump in this fight right now because I'm going to end up wasting a key, but if I were to use him against Harun, he will basically get one shot very easily. And so that's sort of the downside to Perun, in that is, if you are playing with Perun, you want to pair him with heroes that are really fast. So for example, I have my Sigil at 396. Let's see, my Aurora is 378. So like, you want some pretty fast heroes that can help you be first in situations, so that he could stun the enemies, and also he could stun enemies and then basically continue to do barrages. And my personal feeling is that if you think that his one turn stun may not be a big deal, it actually comes in very handy in a lot of situations, especially if you have a hero, if you're up against a wave and you have 1 or 2 enemies coming. Even reducing the amount of damage you hit by 1 turn means it's 1 potentially less activation that the enemies can give out, and so that gives you a little bit of an edge. And keep in mind, the more stats you can put on the enemy, the more damage you deal. So that's going to be it for me for today for Perun. Let me know if you have any questions about him specifically. I think I've showed how he works, the gears that you can go with, and some of the specific things to watch out for. He's really great. If you have him, highly encourage you to build him as fast as you can. And I think that personally, like, I used all of my tomes for him, and I don't regret it, especially since that also allows you to collect another hero for this event that's happening right now, simply by upgrading the ability of a legendary hero. And he is definitely one that I would highly recommend that you go after if you have the tomes and the gold for it. So that's going to be it from me for today. The next episode, I'm going to talk about the new hero that was collected from this event as an epic hero. I'm going to talk about her skills, how you're going to use her, and what situations should be best in. So that's going to be it from me today. Thanks all for watching, guys. Let me know in the comment below what you think, any feedback, any thoughts about Perun, and any questions. Please comment in the video below. and I will talk to you in the next episode. All right, thanks guys. That's it. Take care. Bye now.